After Disney acquired Fox in the monumental deal back in 2019, the question on everybody's lips was, when are the X-Men and the Fantastic Four coming to the MCU? Kevin Feige was adamant that they weren't going to rush the introduction of both teams just for the sake of their inclusion. It needs to happen naturally. But there are a couple of Easter eggs scattered across the franchise, teasing a legendary mutant hiding in the world since the early days of the MCU. Cast your mind back to 2010, as the MCU was taking its first proper steps to expanding its universe in Iron Man 2. Many fans focused on the brief appearance from a prototype Captain America shield and the idea that Howard Stark was involved with the Super Soldier Project. But a brief scene towards the end of the film teased more heroes had been found across the planet. When Nick Fury is discussing the Avengers initiative with Tony, a map of the world can be seen on display in the background. There's a number of locations highlighted, including a location in Africa, referring to Wakanda, a whole 8 years before the Black Panther film finally debuted. But it's the location on the mid-Atlantic ridge in the middle of the ocean that we're interested in. Could this be the location of Namor, Marvel's first mutant? Here's a quick history lesson. Namor, the Submariner, first appeared in Marvel Comics #1 way back in 1939. The son of a sea captain and an Atlantean princess was able to swim extreme speeds, as well as having super strength, durability, and heightened vision to see underwater. Let's not forget, he can also fly, so beat that, Aquaman. Clearly, the oceanic highlight on Nick Fury's board suggests that S.H.I.E.L.D. has found Atlantis. But more importantly, he was actually the first mutant created by Marvel. In the comics timeline, he's obviously not the first mutant. That title belongs to Selene Gallia, the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club. But we digress. During the Illuminati miniseries, the Skrulls confirm that although Namor is an Atlantean-human hybrid, he's definitely a mutant because his flight powers come from neither race. He's often worked with the X-Men, siding with the mutants during the explosive Avengers vs. X-Men storyline as the Phoenix Force made its way to Earth. Although Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver have already appeared in the MCU, they haven't really been called mutants. So introducing Namor as the universe's first fully fledged mutant would be a great callback to the history of the character. The Iron Man 2 clue isn't the only reference to the Submariner. An early scene in Avengers Endgame once teased the arrival of Namor in the wake of the devastating snap from Thanos. During the hologram Zoom call, where Black Widow manages the surviving heroes and their missions, Okoye details an interesting report from Wakanda. After explaining there's been earthquakes off the coast of Africa, Natasha asks how they're dealing with it. Okoye suspiciously says they handle it by not handling it. Does this mean that Wakanda is aware of Atlantis and is choosing not to encroach on the Atlantean territory? Okoye's insistence about leaving these earthquakes alone seems a little odd. After all, with the advanced technology the nation has, surely they'd be able to come up with some kind of remedy for the problem. If we go by Okoye's report, it definitely seems to match up with the locations seen on the board from Iron Man 2. Okay, so before we start running away with excitement for a Namor the Submariner movie, there's a small rights issue getting in the way. Kevin Feige told IGN in 2018 the rights to Namor are not as clean or clear as the majority of the other characters. Sound familiar? Fans will remember there's a similar reason why Mark Ruffalo's Hulk hasn't had his own solo adventure in the MCU, since the rights with Universal only allow him to appear in ensemble movies. So could that lead to Namor appearing in other movies as an extra hero or villain? The easiest way to answer is to include him in Ryan Coogler's Black Panther sequel, since we've already established that he's seemingly close by to the secretive nation. The pair has fought before after Namor flooded Wakanda when he was possessed by the Phoenix Force. T'Challa initially didn't take kindly to that excuse, but for a writer and director like Coogler, Namor's role in the sequel would need to have some sort of dramatic weight that allows him to explore real-world themes. The typical answer would be humanity's oceanic pollution. Who knows what all that vibranium does to the water? We're sure Ryan Coogler could weave in some socially relevant themes to Namor's debut. Many have pointed out that bringing Namor into live action could offer Marvel a chance to add more diversity to their cast. There's a number of Asian American actors that would be perfect for the role, with fans suggesting the likes of Steve Yeun, John Cho, and Daniel Henney. There's a notable star who's already thrown his name in for the role, Lost Daniel Dae Kim. Shortly before J.J. Abrams' show finished, Daniel Dae Kim spoke to UGO about which Marvel character he'd like to play, and he had a pretty solid reason for choosing Namor. The star explained, "Living in Hawaii, I'm always in the water, and I think the Submariner looks Asian, so I feel like if anyone could play him, it would be me. I've met with Marvel about a few other things, but if and when it becomes appropriate, sure, if they'd have me." The star also acknowledges the fan cast on Twitter back in 2016, saying he hopes there'll be an Asian American superhero someday. Obviously, Simu Liu will bring Shang-Chi to life once production resumes in Australia, so Kim already got his wish, but why stop at one token character? Marvel should prove that it's dedicated to a diverse cast of superheroes in its roster. However Namor arrives, there's some big questions to answer. Why has it taken this long for the Submariner to arrive? How does the discovery of yet another secretive nation affect the MCU? Does Namor know about other mutants and the X-Men? And of course, what caused those earthquakes? Who knows, maybe one day we'll see Namor team up with the X-Men in a war against the Avengers in live action. Watch this space. But while we wait for Namor and the X-Men to arrive in the MCU, tell us in the comments which mutant you most want to see on the big screen. Make sure to keep an eye on Heroic Hollywood for all the latest entertainment news, subscribe to the channel, and check out our other videos. Thank you for watching.